Hey guys, what's up? My name is Chaotic and welcome back to another Grand Theft Auto 5 video here on my channel. Now in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing the top 5 best cars that you can buy and customize for under $1 million in GTA Online. Now I just want to say very quickly, whilst making this video, I couldn't believe how many cars you can get in-game for under $1 million. There are plenty of great cars, which I feel are completely underrated and simply overlooked due to the number of vehicles that we now have in-game. There are over 500 in total. So I probably should have made this video a top 10, but seeing the series so far has consisted of top 5s, we've looked at the best cars under $100,000, the best cars under $500,000, I wanted to try and keep this series the same. But if you guys want to check out any of those previous episodes, you can of course do so, there are links in the description. But before we get into this top 5, there are just 1 or 2 vehicles I want to very quickly mention, which very nearly made this lineup, such as the Turismo R, which I'm driving around right now in the gameplay. It is a very cool looking supercar, and one of the cheapest too, at a price of $500,000. There's the Insurgent as well, costing just under $700,000, that's an awesome vehicle as well. There's also the Comet Retro Custom and the Banshee 900R. But let's get straight into things then and take a look at the top 5 that I have chosen, and starting in no particular order with the Zentorno. So released in early 2014 in the business update, the Zentorno was one of the first DLC vehicles ever added into the game. It has a price of $725,000 and is by far one of the best value for money vehicles that you can get in GTA Online. Performance-wise, this thing is incredible. Despite being one of the first cars ever added into the game, it is still up there towards the top of the supercar category. In fact, for the longest time ever, the Zentorno was possibly the most chosen supercar in races, simply because it was better than most others in the category. It definitely was, and still is, one of the best choices you can make. It may not have the highest top speed, but it's still fast, it has good acceleration, it's all-wheel drive, and is great through the corners as well. And of course we can't forget the fact that it looks good, and it has plenty of customization options too at the Los Santos Customs. So on top of the standard customizations such as the armor, the brake, and engine upgrades, there are many unique upgrades you can fit to this, such as a spoiler, you can change out the hood, you can change the exhaust, you can fit skirts, and much more. But once customized, this thing looks even better. It looks great in a range of different colors. In this video, I went for a red, but literally any color you put on this thing, it will look good in. And because there's the option of going for a secondary color as well, there's an even bigger variation of colors you can go for on this car. And to fully upgrade the Zentorno, it won't cost you much more than $250,000. So that, on top of the buy it now price of $725,000, is under $1 million. And at that price, it really is a very good buy. And at one point, the Zentorno was very popular. In fact, most people drove this around in free mode. It's pretty much all you'd see, both in free mode and in races. But with so many cars now added over the past year or two, less and less people are driving these around, despite being one of the best cars you can get in the supercar category. Moving on though to the next car. Now of course we couldn't make this video without mentioning the armored Karuma at some point. Of course released in the Heist update back in 2015, the armored Karuma still remains to be one of the best vehicles in game. And at a buy it now price from the Southern San Andreas Super Autos website of just $525,000, it is certainly very well priced as well. Now sure, in comparison to the standard Karuma, it is a lot more expensive, but comparing this to the other armored vehicles we have in-game, it is not just well priced, but much better than most others available in GTA Online. For starters, this thing is completely bulletproof, so if people try to shoot you through the windows, you will not take any damage whatsoever, unless of course they have armored piercing rounds. And as I'm sure you guys would agree, the armored Karuma is also a very cool looking vehicle, and it's pretty fast as well. It may not be the fastest sports car in game, it is armored after all, but it certainly has many advantages over most others in the category. Then as for the upgrades, there are quite a few customizations available for this at the Los Santos Customs. Of course, on top of the regular customizations, such as the armor, brake, and engine upgrades, but you can also upgrade things such as the front bumper, change the exhausts, fit some skirts, and if you want to, you can change the rear spoiler, even though it comes with one as standard. But it's worth noting that if you don't change the rear spoiler, even though it has one fitted from standard, you won't get that traction boost. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things that happens in GTA 5. You'll have to change the stock spoiler out for a custom one to get that small increase in traction. But then again, the difference itself isn't all that much, as you can see, and unless you want to be racing this around the map or on a track, I don't think it really matters all that much. And in fairness, from standard, when you first buy it, the Karuma is pretty good anyway, so you don't necessarily have to spend money on this upgrading it if you don't want to. Of course, it will improve the car's performance overall if you do, and to fully upgrade this car will cost you just $200,000, so its total price is $725,000. And it's one of those cars which you can use in free mode in pretty much any situation, whether it's just cruising around with some friends or doing some business stuff. The Armour Karuma is definitely one of the best all-round cars for pretty much any situation in GTA Online. But moving on to car number 3, now I know loads of you guys would like me to include the Elegy in this video. After all, it's one of the best sports cars we have in-game, one of the most customizable cars as well, and it's free to get. But the Elegy featured in episode number 1, the best cars under $100,000 because it's so cheap. But in today's video, we're focusing on the Elegy Retro Custom, which you can of course get by upgrading the Elegy at Benny's Original Motorworks. So once you have one of these, of course purchased from the Legendary Motorsports website for the price of free, simply drive it down to Benny's Original Motorworks where you can upgrade it for a price of $904,000. Making this one of the more expensive cars to buy in this lineup, and of course this also means we won't be able to fully upgrade this car for under $1 million, but for about $1.3 million you can fully buy and upgrade this car. But even on a budget of $1 million, there are still loads of things you can do to this. After all, the Elegy Retro Custom is the most customizable car we have in GTA Online because it's a Benny's Original Motorworks vehicle. There are so many things you can do to this. You can change the front grille, the front bumper, you can change the intercooler grille, you can change the hood, add fenders, add skirts, add wind deflectors, change out the headlights, add a roof scoop, change the spoiler, change the rear diffuser, the exhausts, all of the interior. There are so many things you can do to this car. It's pretty impressive how many upgrades are available for this thing. So if you guys want to, you can literally create 3 or 4 different variants of this one vehicle. The Elegy Retro Custom is definitely one of the coolest cars that we have in GTA Online, and it's really good looking as well, especially once fully upgraded. It's also one of the fastest in the sports category as well, so it's great for both driving around the map and in race situations because its speed and handling are both great, but it's fun overall just to drive around. Then we have the Duco Death as car number 4. Now this car was first added into GTA 5 story mode back in 2014 when GTA 5 was released on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 for the first time. But it wasn't until earlier this year, in 2017, 3 years on, the Rockstar finally added this into GTA Online. Now to those who are returning players, so those that once played on an Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 and then transferred to Xbox One, PlayStation 4 or the PC, this car is free to purchase from the Warstock Cash and Carry website. But if you're just a regular player, this car will cost you $665,000. But even at this price, it is still a good purchase for a number of different reasons, which we'll get into in a few moments. First of all, as for customizations, now unfortunately, there aren't any crazy unique upgrades available for this thing. In fact, pretty much all the upgrades available for this at the custom shop are just the standard upgrades, which allow you to upgrade things such as the engine, the armor, the brakes, the headlights, the suspension, and stuff like that. It comes in a matte black from stock, which looks pretty badass, but you can of course change this by respraying it, and it looks pretty good in any color you choose. I ended up selecting matte orange as the primary, and leaving matte black as the secondary, which I thought was a pretty cool combination. But overall, the Duco Death is just an awesome car. It looks great, it's also really fast and fun to drive around as well, and because this thing is armored, it is also explosive resistant. On its own, it can take one sticky bomb with a second, then destroying it, but if you're sitting inside the car when someone tries to blow this up with sticky bombs, it actually takes 4 sticky bombs with the 5th one then blowing it up. And the same applies with RPGs and the homing missile launcher as well. And of course, we can't forget about the fact that this thing has a push bar up front and is insane when it comes to ramming cars out of the way. Just smash into them and it will easily push them out of the way without losing much speed or momentum. And because this car is rear wheel drive, it is great at drifting as well. So whether the car is free for you to purchase or $665,000, it is a very good buy in my opinion, and upgrades will only cost you $200,000 or so. But moving on to the 5th and final car in today's lineup, this being the overflawed Entity XF. And I can't remember the last time I saw someone drive one of these around. In my opinion, the Entity XF is one of the most overlooked vehicles in GTA Online. It looks great, especially from the back of it. I think the rear end of this car is extremely good looking, and there are also quite a few customizations as well this thing has at the custom shop, which we'll take a look at in a few moments. Now, in the terms of performance, it's not quite up there at the top of the supercar category. After all, we now have so many different supercars in the game, with new ones being added with every update, being better and better and better, but it is still mid-range. Performance-wise, it is still fast, it's good off the line, and it's fun to drive as well, and around a track, it's pretty good too. And to buy this, you'll have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the Legendary Motorsports website, where it can be bought for a price of $795,000. If Rockstar was to release this car now into GTA Online in one of the up-and-coming updates, they would definitely charge double this, if not more. But you can buy and fully upgrade this car in-game for under $1 million. And like I said, there are a few customizations available for this, of course on top of the standard upgrades. You can do things such as fit the custom side vents, which adds this small panel on the vent, which I thought was kind of cool. You can upgrade the front and rear bumper, adding things such as a front splitter and canards up front, and a rear diffuser on the back, which looks pretty cool. You can also change out the exhaust from single to doubles or triples. You can also fit a spoiler as well, but I prefer the appearance of this car without a spoiler, so I didn't select one. Now, customizing this car doesn't do a huge amount. It won't really change the appearance of this all that much. It just improves it slightly, adding a few extra details. But overall, it's just an awesome looking car. And unfortunately, this is the only overflood we have in-game. Hopefully at some point in one of the up-and-coming updates, Rockstar will add more overfloods, which of course are Koenigsegg in real life, into the game. But for the time being, this is the only overflood we have, and it's an awesome one at that. Anyway, but there we go then guys, so those are the top 5 best cars that you can buy and customize in GTA Online. Like I said, there are loads and loads of other cars in the game, many of which probably should have been in this lineup somewhere. I probably should have done a top 10 or a top 20, and who knows, maybe I'll revisit this at some point and maybe do that. But I want to get your thoughts and feelings on these 5 cars I've shared and discussed in today's video, and are there any of the cars you think should be mentioned in this video? So go ahead and leave a comment. If you guys could also drop a like, it would of course be greatly appreciated, and it helps me out a lot. And if you guys want to check out any of the previous episodes, the top 5 cars under 100,000 and top 5 cars under 500,000, you can check out those videos. There are links in the description. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do, because I upload all the latest and the greatest Grand Theft Auto 5 content. So as always guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.